Good afternoon. I am the Prayer Shawl Jew, and in my videos, I'm going to provide a strategic analysis of human behavior and news events. My purpose is to provide you the opportunity to identify other people's errors and also their strategically advantageous and profitable moves so you can avoid making the same errors and also duplicate as much as possible profitable moves of others so you can increase your own advantage and profit. Today, I would like to analyze the recent hacking of Stratfor's emails and the release this week of those emails by the Wikileaks website. Stratfor is a news gathering and intelligence analysis website that has been in business for over 15 years or so. And I have been a reader of Stratfor for over 12 years, as definitely as early as 1999. And First, let me say that it is indeed, as far as a news gathering organization, it is a fine organization, and it does an excellent job of gathering news, especially news that does not go to the front page of mainstream news organizations. So, indeed, over the past 12 years, Stratfor's news has provided me with many times the crucial piece in important analysis. It has, several times it was the one piece of news that I got from Stratfor's reports was the deciding factor in my analysis of different events. So there's no question that Stratfor does a good job of gathering news. The second thing that Stratfor does, in addition to gathering news, it claims to provide analysis of those news that it gathers, and it also claims to provide security advice and strategy advice and strategic security analysis. Now, and indeed, they have published two books in the past 3 years. One titled "How to Live in a Dangerous World," and the other one titled "How to Look for Trouble." So those two books alone show that, they claim to have expertise in analysis and security. So basically, the organization serves two purposes. One is gathering news, which they do a good job, and then the second part of their business is providing analysis of the news that they have gathered, and they provide that either on their website or in emails that they send out. Now, over the past 12 years, my assessment of their analysis has always been very low. So I tend to read the articles that they publish on their websites, but I pay careful attention to the beginning of the article, which includes the news. But when it comes to the middle and end of the article, where they analyze that news, I try to skip over it because I have found repeatedly that their analysis is a little bit weak and not so wise. However, because analysis is a very difficult and rare art, and indeed sometimes it takes years, if not decades, to see for sure whether you or someone else's analysis was truly correct or not. I tend to not really criticize people for getting their analysis wrong on minor failures. So indeed, I appreciated them up to this point because they provided excellent news gathering services. However, in the events of past several months, starting in December, where George Friedman, the CEO of Stratfor, announced that their emails had been hacked and a massive amount of their emails had been stolen. And also this week, Wikileaks, the secret leaking website, has released 5 million emails that they claim are those emails that were hacked from Stratfor in December. So these two events have brought into focus the failure of Stratfor in their claimed expertise in security and intelligence. Indeed, for someone to publish a book called How to Live in a Dangerous World and How to Look for Trouble, and claim that they are qualified to give advice to other people on how to protect themselves, and they fall victim to a massive security breach, indeed is prima facie evidence that they are not qualified to be giving security advice to anyone. And indeed, they need to hire somebody else themselves to give them security advice on how to protect themselves. And according to the news reports that I've read, their security breach was not due to some sophisticated attack by a clever enemy, but indeed it was an easy attack because Stratfor seemed to lack even the most simple security protections, and they seem to have unencrypted passwords or passwords that were just simply the name of the organizations, Stratfor. So I mean, there seemed to be a complete reckless disregard for their own security. So of course, you know, people are free to be as reckless as they want, but for someone to claim to be a security expert and then to fall victim to a huge security breach is indeed a very funny event. So, and also the fact here is that the one thing that Stratfor was good at, which was gathering of news, they have now lost their credibility so much. I have been reading the emails that Wikileaks has released, and indeed the fact that their internal communication has been exposed probably will cause some of their best employees to leave, because they do not want to be part of an organization where everything that they say could be exposed to the public at any moment. Also, many people that trusted them and were their sources for this news may now be reluctant to provide information in the future. So not only has Stratfor been totally discredited as a security and analysis firm, but even their news gathering function, which they had performed well up to this point, will probably lose its effectiveness because they have lost credibility so much that news sources will probably be reluctant to cooperate with them in the future. Also, the fact that you know, the right strategy here would have been for Mr. Friedman to accept the fact that he does not have the talent or the expertise to be in this business. I mean, he looks like a fairly young man, relatively, and you know, he can still go and make his living in something else. So he needs to resign his position and accept the fact that this is not the business for him, and he should go find something else that he can excel at. So he's now making a fool of himself by insisting to remain in the business which is obviously not qualified to be in. So indeed, it was funny in the video response that Stratfor released yesterday in response to the WikiLeaks release. George Friedman is heard saying that, you know, that he is not going to. First, he claims that some of these emails may be altered or forged, and he says that he's not going to verify which emails are indeed correct and which ones are forged or altered, according to him. However, a few seconds after saying that he's not going to do that, he actually goes and says, well, the email that said I've resigned, that was obviously a forgery. So he contradicts himself a few seconds after making a statement. I have enjoyed Mr. Friedman's work. I mean, he had set up a fine news gathering organization. However, because of what transpired during his occupation of the CEO office, he has now lost his credibility. He does need to resign, and he needs to allow Stratfor to overhaul, so maybe it can retain a remnant of his previous business and continue with at least its news gathering functions, which it did well in the past. I personally have no interest in this event, except for the fact that I'm a subscriber to their newsletter. I do read the premium parts of their website, but I read it in a way that my own information and my own payment information is not shared with this website. So I have not suffered any personal damage in this event, and I have no interest in this company. And indeed, whether George Friedman resigns or not is not really will not make any difference in my life at all. But I am here pointing out the right strategy, because we're analyzing this event for its strategic value, to see what can we learn from Stratfor's mistake. So in conclusion, Stratfor has been discredited. They need to recall those books titled How to Live in a Dangerous World and How to Look for Trouble, and they need to refund the readers' money. And indeed, they need to go ahead and revise those books and see where they went wrong, because obviously they have failed at both of them. How to Live in a Dangerous World and How to Look for Trouble. Indeed, they're obviously not capable of doing either one of those two. So thank you very much, and this was my video for today, Wednesday, February 29th, 2012.